I don't think I can logistically put into words what the PlayStation 1 means to me as a gamer, and when it came out and I had it for that Christmas, I have made a video about that, which I will tag at the beginning of this video, hopefully around about this point that I'm talking. So please check that out if you're interested in hearing somebody talk about a nostalgic Christmas. But the PlayStation 1 for me was one of the golden... Like, a lot of people talk about the golden era of gaming and all that stuff. For me, personally, it was the late 90s and very early 2000s. That's the golden era of gaming. Back then, when there was hardly any internet and you just discovered games and it blew your mind because you weren't oversaturated with everything. It was fantastic. I just thought, maybe what if I try and put together a list? I mean, the PS1 had not around 9,000 games. I'm sure I can narrow it down to 10. Now, I have chosen 10, which to me are my top 10 for many different reasons. Not because they are graphically or gameplay better than loads of other games, not at all. It's just where I played them at a time in my life. That's just what, they just mean a lot to me because I played a lot of it as a kid, and obviously they all have something that is, special to me. I think if you follow my channel and you've heard me waffle on about games before, you kind of already know what my number one pick is, but I will go through them. But I'm starting off with Alien Trilogy, which is one of the 7 games I had come free with my PS1 back in 97, 98, whichever year it was. I'm a massive Alien fan. Obviously, I was about 10 when the PS1 came out, so I should not really have been watching Alien and Aliens, but I did. And it scared the crap out of me, but I absolutely loved it. I'm an Aliens fan now, and I always have been. And Alien Trilogy is just a really nostalgic, fun shooter. As soon as I start hearing the music of the main menu and the level music of level 1, it just takes me straight back to that Christmas, and I'm playing it all over again for the first time. It's a really good, for the time it was a really good first-person shooter, kind of like a Doom clone, but that was loosely based on the Alien films, very loosely. More so on Aliens than any of the others, but it was loosely based on them, where you play as Ripley and you have to go through 30 levels of just shooting aliens, facehuggers, eggs, chest bursters, all that kind of stuff. There are also Weyland-Yutani troops as well that you got to fight as well, which was a bit annoying. I don't know why they do that. They do that in modern Alien games. We want to shoot aliens, so just let us do that. But Alien Trilogy is still such a nostalgic game for me, and so damn good. The Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver was the second in the Legacy of Kain games. Now, obviously, last year had a remaster of Soul Reaver and Soul Reaver 2, and that was amazing to have. Thank you very much for that. I'm hoping to get Blood Omen and Blood Omen 2, and hopefully Defiance HD'd up and remastered as well. That would make my life absolutely complete. But Soul Reaver, for me especially, is so cool. I remember playing the demo, and I remember falling in love with the intro FMV sequence, and the music is so epic and awesome. The writing and the voice acting is so damn good, and the gameplay is really cool. Yes, inspired by Tomb Raider, like all the games were back then, but it just does its own thing. It has some really cool combat, which has obviously been polished up with the HD remaster, but it's just one of those games shifting in and out of the physical and corporeal realms and going to all the different locations, fighting the bosses, working out puzzles. It's just such a damn good game, and one that I'm happy to keep replaying, especially in its HD format. It's just one of those games which I can't remember at my school with friends, nobody disliking. Everybody acknowledged how good of a game it is. What can I say about Resident Evil 2 that has already not been said? It is legendary. The remake is one of the best remakes of a game ever made, but the original Resident Evil 2 there was such hype for it, and a friend of mine had a demo for it, and he very cruelly made me have to do a load of other bullcrap to just play this demo where you just take Leon through the streets of Raccoon City, and it's just obviously to get to the police station. But I just remember the hype. I remember me and my brother getting it for Christmas, in '98, I think, and it was just magical. It's such a damn good game. It's a game that me and my brother played through, and my brother especially played through it an absolute ton, and he played it all the time and just completed the different scenarios with Leon and Claire, and the music and everything. Mr. X in there, everything about, like, you already know about Resident Evil 2. I'm not going to bother going far too in depth, but it was just a fantastic, and still is a fantastic survival horror game for the PlayStation 1. And it was a toss-up between Resident Evil 2 or Silent Hill for this list, because I had so many games I wanted on this list, and Silent Hill was great, and Resident Evil 1 was the first Resident Evil I hadn't played. But I have to put Resident Evil 2 on here because Resident Evil 2 is just that damn good. Up next is another game that within my friends group back in the early 2000s, Digimon World was the game that we all wanted. It was obviously like the Tamagotchi's game, and of course with it being Digimon, so you train them up to battle them. Yes, the system was flawed in some ways. You'd always wind up with a Digimon you didn't want, or you had to grind specific numbers, and it's a very difficult game, especially for kids, because it doesn't really tell you where to go. You gotta figure it all out yourself, or a certain Digimon would appear at certain times, and as your objective is to get these Digimon to return to the town, to the little Digimon city. It was just an absolute nightmare to try and 100% that, and you find yourself in a location where your Digimon is very under-leveled, and he just gets spanked. And of course, this is the game where your Digimon, you train it up, you get it powerful, you do all that, and then it just goes and dies on you. So, and then you just start all over again with a new Digimon. So it had a very fun gameplay loop, but it's such a good game. It's such a very, very good game. And although the game has been remade with New World or New World Order or whatever it's called, it's not as good, unfortunately. Nowhere near as good as the original. If this original game was remastered for modern consoles and for PC, or just ported and just HD'd up a tad, like the Soul Reaver one I mentioned earlier in the video, I'd be very happy with that, because Digimon World is such a replayable game. It's got so much in it that you can do. You could spend a ton of time within the game just trying to get the best Digimon and work it all out and complete the game, collecting all the items, doing what you need to do. It's such a really cool game, and one that just nostalgically for me and my friends, we play the ever-loving shit out of it. Jade Cocoon was a game I discovered on a PlayStation demo disc, and I watched the intro cinematic, which was on the demo disc as well. And again, this is another one where as soon as that I hear that FMV music, I hear the theme on the main menu, it's such a nostalgic game, and it takes me straight back. Jade Cocoon is a fantastic Pokemon-esque game for the PlayStation 1 if you've not played it. Unfortunately, it only got one sequel to my knowledge, which came out on PS2, which is not as good. I haven't played a ton of it, but I will do. But Jade Cocoon on the PS1 is so good. You hunt, you go out and fight monsters with a dagger, then you capture them with like a flute ocarina thing in a cocoon, and then you can combine monsters together, and you can form these really weird hodgepodge things. There are dragon-esque ones, goblin-looking ones. There's all different manners of elements as well. So obviously with the rock, paper, scissors stuff, with fire, earth, water, and all that kind of jazz. So you can create your own monsters that way, which is pretty cool. It does have a cool story. The game's not too long, unfortunately. I would have liked it to be a little longer, but what you can unlock is like an endless corridor. So when you beat the main game, you can just spend as much time as you want capturing all the different monsters, combining them all, leveling them all up, and seeing what you can do. It's a very good game that's Pokemon-esque, and although it's not supremely in-depth, it's just a really damn good game, and one that I played an absolute ton of on the PlayStation 1. if you can believe that I found Breath of Fire 4 in a cardboard display on the counter of a small, just a small shop in the UK, which just sold milk, bread, and all the other usual stuff. Grocery store in America, I think you call them, but it was just like a corner shop here in the UK, and it was there, and it was £10. And it was in the early 2000s, and I said to my mum, can I get this? And she was like, yeah, sure. So I got it, took it home, and boom. That was my introduction to the Breath of Fire series. Because obviously, like I said at the beginning of the video, there was no internet, so I just discovered it. And being a bit of a weeb myself, anything that looks remotely anime-esque, I'm all over it. Being a fan of Dragon Ball and Pokemon and Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all the other anime stuff, Akira from the 90s, being a fan of all of that, if I saw anything that had any anime characters on it, I was like, I want that one. And I'm so glad I did, because Breath of Fire 4 is really damn good. And the Breath of Fire series as a whole, minus the 5th one, but the first 4 are really, really good. Breath of Fire 3 is fantastic. And yes, mild spoiler alert, when I do my PSP top 10, it will appear on there. But Breath of Fire 4 has great characters, it has great sprite work, it's aged very, very well. If they was to remaster this game and HD it up, just leave it as it is, just HD it up, it would still look phenomenal. It's great. It also has fishing in it, fishing minigame, which I absolutely love me some fishing minigames. I can't stand fishing in real life, but I will play a fishing minigame, no problem. It's got really cool combat, the sprite work on the enemies is really awesome, the turn-based combat is really, really fun. And like I said, the characters, Ryu, Nina, they're all really awesome, and the story is really good as well. Another game I found in the same shop, in the same cardboard display, but at a different point in time, a little earlier than Breath of Fire 4, was Grandia. Grandia is one of my most nostalgic RPG experiences. It's a game that I just discovered, and as soon as I put it in, I hear the music. Justin, Fina, all the characters that Sue, they are just, with their little puffy thing as well. And the combat is one of the best turn-based systems out there. And of course it carries on over into the second game as well. If it's not broke, don't fix it. It's obviously slightly isometric. The sprite work still looks very, very good. However, the 3D elements of the game have aged a lot, but I don't care. The game itself, the story that Justin takes and the characters take throughout the course of the game, if you dedicate the time to it and play it, hopefully it will actually impact you emotionally as it did with me. Because although it's a game it has no side content at all, it's just a main story. You're just taking these 3 adventurers over the edge of the world, over the great big ass golden wall to the other side, and then back again. And it's just a story of personal growth, I think, for the characters, and that's all it needs to be. And it's just a game that I'm so glad I discovered, and I'm so glad I played it a ton as a kid. Unfortunately though, I did lend it to a friend in school, and he lent me Final Fantasy IX, which, don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy IX is fantastic as well, but I never got my copy of Grandia back. Obviously I got to keep his Final Fantasy IX, but he unfortunately moved schools and moved house and moved away, and I got stuck with Final Fantasy IX, and I didn't see Grandia again until I found it on the PS Store on the PSP many years later, which sucks the big one, because I would have loved my original copy to keep it, but obviously I can play backup copies of it now anyway, and there's also the Grandia HD, which I play as well, so it's not the end of the world. In the number 3 spot is Metal Gear Solid. Again, I don't know what else I could say about Metal Gear Solid that you don't already know. It was a game that was massively advanced. It was so far ahead of its time, with everything Hideo Kojima put in there, with having to change the controllers when you're fighting Psycho Mantis, to being able to, utilize stealth in such a way it didn't rely on all guns blazing. Of course, there's a specific section of the game that does, when you're going up at the tower and the alarm's going off and you've just got guards constantly coming at you. But it is such a good game, and it's very well voice acted, it's very well written. Yes, if you remove all of the cutscenes and whatnot, gameplay wise it's only roughly around 3-ish hours if you just want to plow on with it. But I don't care. I think Metal Gear Solid is still one of the best games to ever come our way, and I can't wait to hopefully see if they remake Metal Gear Solid 1 again or just port the GameCube version. But the original on the PS1 was my introduction to the Metal Gear series, like many others, and it's just so good. I play through it quite often, and I still find massive enjoyment in it because its gameplay systems, the things it does, the things you can do. It's just such a damn good game, and like just insane that Kojima and his team put everything into that, and especially on the Sony PlayStation. It's mad. Tomb Raider 2 was a game I saw on the English TV show called Games Master, and it was also a magazine. And I saw these people, they played through a couple of levels. They played through the Great Wall of China level, which is of course the first level, and then they played through the first level of the Tibetan levels. And my jaw was just extended down to the floor, and I was in awe at what I was watching, because I just wanted to play that game. I was like, I don't know what that is, because I knew nothing about the first Tomb Raider, because I obviously led a very sheltered life for some reason, or I was blind. But I was like, I need this Tomb Raider 2 in my life. So I was very good, I suppose, but I remember my dad taking me to Toys R Us and getting the little yellow ticket, running to the counter, getting my copy of Tomb Raider 2, getting it home, and then for years afterwards, I replayed Tomb Raider 2 again and again. And now that I'm so thankful that we have the first 6 Tomb Raider games remastered and available, and I have them on Steam and on the Steam Deck, and I can just play through it again at slightly better graphics and just play through it again and again and again. And to me, that's what Tomb Raider 2 is. It's a game that is brilliant in its execution. It improved upon the first game where it needed to, but kept things the same where it needed to. And it's just such a very good damn 3D adventure puzzle platformer action game. It's just so damn good. And of course Lara Croft is really, really cool. The final level at her mansion where the guys, the Bartley guys, come and try and take her out, and you just have to kill them all. That is just an amazing end to an amazing game. Yes, not every level is great. Some of the levels are a bit shite, but most of them are so iconic and so much fun to play through. And it's just Tomb Raider 2 is just up there.
Waiting for the right one, the right time to arrive, and then the dagger's blade will honor the hearts of those who believe. So unless you pledge your loyalty as well.
And which one is that?
To the sins and fortunes of Marco Bartoli.
Perhaps not just yet, then.
And finally, I think I speak for a lot of people my age, Final Fantasy VII is my all-time favourite game anyway, but it's definitely my all-time favourite PS1 game. It's a game I've played through many times. It's a game that, for me, and for a lot of other people, introduced me and most of the other people in the West to JRPGs in general. And I mentioned this in my I think it was a review I did, but I completed it again recently, recently, I think it was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now. But the game was just so epic, and even for then, like with the themes and what it was doing, and the ending and everything that happened, and how long the game is, and of course it's over 3 discs, but more often than not with PlayStation, the disc situation was because of the FMVs and the size of the files for the FMVs and the music. It wasn't necessarily for gameplay, but Final Fantasy VII was and can be a very long ass game if you want it to be, if you want to breed the chocobos and get all those and then go and hunt the ultimate weapons if you so choose to. But and you can just obviously hang around at the Golden Saucer, and you can partake in the Chocobo races and all that kind of stuff. But Final Fantasy VII is just, well, it's just Final Fantasy VII. I also love Final Fantasy VII Remake and Intergrade almost as equally as the original game. But the original game will always be my favourite PS1 game, and so far will always be my favourite game of all time, because the characters are great, the story's really good. I know not everybody likes it. I know that there's big within especially the Final Fantasy fan base of like people think Final Fantasy VI is better than 7, and that's absolutely fine. 6 is a very good game. I don't think it's as good as 7, but it's still a fantastic game. And yeah, just Final Fantasy VII is the number one for all of the reasons. It just works, the materia system is awesome, the length of the story, the characters, the plot points, everything that happens, it's all golden. But thank you very much for watching this long ass video of my top 10 PS1 games. Please let me know down below what your top 10 PS1 games are, and hopefully I'll see you on, I've got a load of these planned and written out and ready to rock for all the different consoles, so hopefully I'll see you on those ones. But thank you very much for watching.